Six Flags Great Adventure has seen its fair share of thrilling rides come and go. From towering coasters to unique flat rides, each attraction left its mark before vanishing into history. Some were record breakers, others were short-lived, but all were once part of the park's story. Take a look back at 10 more lost rides, remembering the thrills that once filled this park. In the early 1980s, Six Flags Great Adventure was looking for a new attraction that could capitalise on the Olympic excitement sweeping the world. The 1984 Winter Games in Sarajevo provided the perfect inspiration, and Six Flags partnered with Intamin to bring a cutting-edge bobsled coaster to the park. Unlike traditional roller coasters with fixed rails, this new ride would let cars navigate a smooth steel trough, mimicking the unpredictable motion of an actual bobsled run. It was constructed directly on the parking lot, with little in the way of theming. The ride's structure was mostly exposed, with minimal landscaping or scenery to integrate it into the park. On May 9, 1984, Sarajevo Bobsleds made its debut, thrilling guests with its unique ride experience. The coaster was located in the Good Time Alley section of the park, drawing guests past an array of carnival games before reaching the ride's entrance. The station was designed with a half-timbered alpine aesthetic, immersing guests in the Winter Olympic theme. The track itself was a striking mix of white and blue, designed to resemble an icy bobsled run. Sarajevo Bobsled featured a trough-like course that allowed the sleds to slide from side to side as they made their way down the track. The sleds seated riders in pairs, with enclosed cars designed to resemble bobsleds. After ascending the chain-lift hill, the ride began with a gentle curve, before dipping into a series of high bank turns. Because the sleds weren't locked to rails, each turn had a slightly unpredictable feel, with the ride banking naturally as it followed the contours of the track. The coaster continued with a series of swooping curves and quick dips, keeping up a thrilling pace. While not the fastest ride in the park, Sarajevo Bobsled provided a smooth yet unpredictable experience that set itself apart from the rest of Great Adventure's lineup. However, Sarajevo Bobsled had its drawbacks. Its hourly capacity was relatively low, and the seating arrangement required riders to sit between each other's legs, which some found uncomfortable. The ride was also highly susceptible to weather conditions. Any moisture on the steel trough could cause the sleds to slip, leading to frequent closures. Still, the attraction proved to be a crowd favourite and remained in operation until the end of the 1988 season. By then, Six Flags had bigger plans. A massive new roller coaster was set to take over the site, and Sarajevo Bobsled was selected for the company's ride rotation programme. Rather than being scrapped, the coaster was carefully dismantled, loaded onto flatbed trucks, and relocated to Six Flags Great America, where it reopened in 1989 under the name Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder remained in operation for 6 years, but was eventually removed in 1995 to make room for the park's new Southwest Territory area. Unlike its previous relocation, the coaster remained in storage for several years before finding a new home. In 1998, the ride was rebuilt at Six Flags Great Escape in New York, where it was renamed Alpine Bobsled. Alpine Bobsled thrilled guests at Great Escape for 25 years, though it continued to struggle with weather-related issues. In August 2023, the park announced that the ride would close permanently on September 4th. The site at Six Flags Great Adventure would be filled in 1989, with the opening of Great American Scream Machine, a new record-breaking roller coaster. In the mid-1980s, the coaster industry was looking for the next big thing. Manufacturers were experimenting with new designs and elements to keep up the demand for bigger, more thrilling rides. One such innovation came from Togo of Japan, who introduced the Ultra Twister, a pipeline roller coaster that featured a heartline roll. This new coaster design promised to offer a completely different ride experience, and it would make its North American debut at Six Flags Great Adventure. The construction of Ultra Twister began in November 1985, in a newly developed area of Six Flags Great Adventure, near the Rolling Thunder and Runaway Mine Train coasters. The ride was positioned in the park's Frontier Adventures section, and the project was one of the most anticipated additions of the season. When Ultra Twister opened on June 6, 1986, it became the first coaster in the United States to feature a heartline roll. It also boasted the steepest vertical ascent of any coaster at the time. The compact design of Ultra Twister was made possible by its stacked track configuration, which allowed the ride to fit into a relatively small area while still offering a thrilling experience. The track moved only in the vertical plane, offering a unique sensation of inversions without the need for traditional loops or corkscrews. Ultra Twister's ride vehicles were designed to hold 6 riders in a train, with 2 riders seated across in each of the 3 rows. The station featured a moving walkway for loading and unloading, which synchronised with the speed of the trains, allowing for efficient rider flow. The ride experience began as trains were pulled up the 100-foot lift hill, which led to the coaster's first element, a 90-degree drop straight down. After the drop, riders soared over a small hill and into the first of the heartline rolls, a distinctive feature of the ride. These rolls were designed to flip riders while keeping their centre of gravity between the rails. After completing the first heartline roll, the car was brought to a stop by a set of brakes on a section of track suspended high above the station. The track would tilt downwards and the car was then released, sending riders backwards down the track to complete 2 more heartline rolls before returning to the station. Despite the innovative design and early praise, Ultra Twister faced a number of issues that led to its closure at Great Adventure. The coaster was plagued by mechanical problems, including recurring stress fractures in the track that required constant rewelding. The frequent downtime, combined with the difficult evacuation procedures from the vertical lift, contributed to the ride's eventual closure. By the end of the 1988 season, Ultra Twister had been closed and disassembled. The ride was relocated to Six Flags Astroworld in Houston, Texas, reopening there in 1990. As part of the move, Ultra Twister underwent some modifications. Most notably, the 90-degree vertical lift was changed to a 45-degree ascent to improve rider comfort and reduce evacuation difficulties. Ultra Twister continued to operate at Astroworld until the park's closure on October 30th, 2005. The plot at Great Adventure would sit empty for a number of years. Eventually, Great Adventure welcomed Viper, another Togo-designed coaster, which opened in 1995 at the location where Ultra Twister once stood. Like its predecessor, Viper struggled with performance issues, eventually leading to its own closure in 2005 to make way for El Toro, one of the park's most successful coasters. Shockwave was a steel stand-up roller coaster that operated at Six Flags Great Adventure from April 1990 to September 1992. Originally debuting at Six Flags Magic Mountain in 1986, the ride was relocated to Great Adventure as part of the Six Flags Ride Rotation program, which aimed to introduce existing attractions to new markets. The ride was designed by Intamin, featuring a layout with a 90-foot lift hill, a 66-foot vertical loop, and a 2,300-foot long track that reached speeds of 55 miles per hour. Shockwave's track design used box beam construction, which improved structural integrity but also amplified noise, making the ride one of the loudest attractions in the park. The coaster was painted black at Magic Mountain, but received a new royal blue track and white supports when it arrived at Great Adventure. Shockwave was installed on the former site of the Garden of Marvels, a miniature golf course and remote control boat attraction. Preparation for the new ride began in 1989, with the land cleared and filled to accommodate its footprint. An old control bunker from the Garden of Marvels was repurposed as a storage building, and the ride's entrance was positioned near Dream Street and the Carousel. A landscape viewing area was included, incorporating a koi pond from the former attraction, providing guests with a scenic spot to observe the ride. The coaster featured 2 trains, each accommodating 20 riders in 5 rows. The stand-up design required over-the-shoulder restraints, with one fixed side and another with a ratcheting mechanism to secure each rider. Adjusting the restraints for each guest was time-consuming, slowing the loading process and requiring additional ride attendants. Once guests were secured, the train engaged with the lift chain immediately after leaving the station. At the peak of the 90-foot lift hill, the track curved 180 degrees into the first drop, leading directly into a 66-foot vertical loop. Following this, the ride ascended into a bank curve before descending over a bunny hill. A mid-course brake run offered a brief pause before the final segment, consisting of bank curves and helixes, guiding the train back to the station. Returning riders exited to the right, descending a staircase and passing through a tunnel beneath the station. Upon opening, Shockwave was a major draw for guests, many of whom had never experienced a stand-up coaster before. The ride's novelty, combined with Six Flags Great Adventure introducing its second new coaster in as many years, generated excitement. However, the coaster quickly developed issues. Frequent maintenance delayed its daily opening, frustrating guests who arrived early hoping to ride. Long lines formed at the entrance, often stretching down Dream Street past the carousel, as visitors waited for the ride to become operational. Another major concern was noise. The box beam track construction amplified the sound of the trains, making Shockwave audible through the park, overpowering background music in nearby areas. In the fall of 1992, Six Flags Great Adventure closed Shockwave without prior announcement. Removal began shortly afterward, coinciding with the dismantling of lightning loops to make way for the park's 1993 edition, Batman the Ride. While the removal of lightning loops had been widely publicised, the sudden disappearance of Shockwave came as a surprise to many park guests. Shockwave was carefully dismantled, its track sections unbolted, and loaded onto trucks for transport to Six Flags Astroworld in Houston, Texas. There it reopened in 1993 as Batman the Escape, once again marketed as a new attraction. Following Shockwave's removal, its former site remained vacant. The ride's queue and covered walkways were left standing for several years. In 1994, part of the site was used for the Right Stuff Mach 1 Adventure, a motion simulator attraction. Additional portions of the former Shockwave area were later developed for Daredevil Dive in 1997 and Houdini's Great Escape in 1999. Joust-a-Bout was introduced during the 1982 season, positioned at the far end of Good Time Alley, the park's main games area. This section had been rebuilt following an off-season fire that destroyed the original Good Time Alley. The reconstruction aimed to create a more visually unified space. Joust-a-Bout was strategically placed to draw guests deeper into the area, its height and motion making it a highly visible attraction, particularly at night. The ride was a stationary park model of the Schwarzkopf Junker attraction, also known as a flying carpet ride, and it was the only installation of its kind in the United States. Joust-a-Bout featured 2 large gondolas, each seating 32 passengers in a total of 8 rows, with 4 seats per row. Riders faced the centre of the vehicle, and it utilised padded lap bars to secure guests. In its early years, Joust-a-Bout would operate in both directions, but by the 1990s, it had been reduced to just one direction. Riders experienced a unique pendulum-like motion as the gondolas rotated up and over the ride structure. The queue passed directly beneath the ride's path, creating an illusion that they might come close to hitting guests, especially when they travelled at full speed. Taller guests were even known to touch the ride as it swung past. Over the years, Joust-a-Bout underwent several changes. In 1991, it was temporarily closed for an extensive refurbishment. As larger attractions were introduced to the boardwalk area, Joust-a-Bout was increasingly dwarfed. The addition of Parachuter's Perch in 1983, Sarajevo Bobsled in 1984, and Great American Scream Machine in 1989 made the once dominant ride seem small in comparison. In the mid-1990s, Six Flags, under Time Warner's ownership, aimed to better theme different areas of the park. The boardwalk section was rethemed to align with the addition of the Right Stuff Mach 1 Adventure, giving the area an Air Force Base aesthetic. As part of this transition, Joust-a-Bout was rebranded as Sky Pilot. The ride received a new red and blue colour scheme, while its support columns were painted in black and white. Sky Pilot continued to operate until the end of the 1998 season, but ongoing maintenance issues led to its permanent removal. In its place, Six Flags installed Twister, a Huss topspin ride. Unlike many attractions that are dismantled and scrapped, Joust-a-Bout's remnants were not entirely discarded. To this day, sections of the ride, still painted in the Sky Pilot colour scheme, can be found in Great Adventure's Boneyard. In 1999, Six Flags Great Adventure launched a major initiative known as the War on Lines. Introducing 27 new rides, in an effort to improve guest experience. Among the additions was Evolution, a massive spinning thrill ride that immediately stood out with its striking design and dazzling nighttime light display. Evolution featured a massive central arm, supported by 4 inclined pillars, with a rotating wheel at one end and a heavy counterweight at the other. Attached to the wheel were 10 cars, each capable of seating 4 riders, for a total capacity of 40 per cycle. Riders were secured by over-the-shoulder harnesses as the cars tipped back 90 degrees, placing them on their backs before the arm began its 360-degree rotation. The result was a disorienting and intense experience, as riders were flipped upside down while the entire structure swung high above the ground. Evolution's journey to Six Flags Great Adventure began at Mirabilandia, an amusement park in Italy, where it originally operated before being sold to Six Flags in time for the 1999 season. Assembly was relatively straightforward due to the ride's design, which had been developed for quick setups on the European Fair circuit. A large concrete pit was constructed beneath the ride to accommodate the swing clearance of the massive wheel. Once completed, Evolution was an impressive sight, particularly at night when its extensive lighting package illuminated the area with vibrant colours. However, from the start, the ride faced a series of operational difficulties. One of the biggest issues was its complex control system, which required a high level of proficiency from ride operators. Many struggled to efficiently operate the ride, leading to frequent downtime and inconsistent operation. After only a few short seasons, Six Flags Great Adventure made the decision to remove Evolution. During the 2002 to 2003 off-season, the ride was fully dismantled and shipped to Six Flags St. Louis, where it was rebranded as Excalibur. Before reopening at its new home, the ride received a medieval-themed makeover, complete with a new colour scheme and decorative elements. Additionally, an in-car sound system was installed to enhance the rider experience with a synchronised musical score. Today, Evolution's former footprint remains visible at Six Flags Great Adventure. The round pit once necessary for the ride's swing clearance is still intact, along with the footing locations for its massive support legs. Excalibur continued to operate at Six Flags St. Louis until it was removed at the end of the 2022 season. Announced in 1996 was Batman and Robin the Chiller, a launch dueling roller coaster manufactured by Premier Rides. The coaster was designed as a pair of intertwined tracks, each themed to the DC comic characters Batman and Robin. The attraction was part of the park's Movie Town section, featuring a striking blue and red colour scheme corresponding to the 2 superheroes. The construction of the Chiller was an ambitious project. It was one of the first roller coasters to utilise a linear induction motor launch system, a technology that allowed for rapid acceleration without the need for a traditional chain lift. The coaster's station and launch area were enclosed within a themed Gotham City-style building. However, the complexity of the design led to delays, meaning the ride operated only a handful of days in its 1997 debut year. The ride experience was intense from the start. Each train was launched out of the station using LIMs, reaching 65 miles per hour in approximately 4 seconds. The Batman track, measuring 1,137 feet in length, featured an inverted top hat element. Meanwhile, the Robin track, at 1,229 feet, contained a 105-foot cobra roll that provided 2 rapid inversions. Both tracks originally included a 0G roll after their respective signature elements, leading into an inclined spike at the end of the layout. These spikes, standing at 200 feet and angled at 45 degrees, housed additional LIMs that propelled the trains near the top before allowing them to stall briefly. Riders then experienced the entire course in reverse. In its early days, both tracks ran simultaneously to provide a dueling experience, with trains reaching the end of their respective layouts at nearly the same time. However, the amount of power required to launch 2 trains at once proved excessive, leading the park to stagger launches. Despite its ambitious design, Batman and Robin the Chiller suffered from persistent technical issues. The LIM launch system was prone to overheating, resulting in frequent closures. The ride's complex layout, particularly the inversions, also placed immense stress on the track and trains. The restraints, designed with over-the-shoulder harnesses, were often criticised for being restrictive and uncomfortable, especially during the high-speed elements. launch system failures and maintenance difficulties persisted, leading to frequent closures and frustrated guests. By 2007, the park made a significant modification, removing the zero-G rolls from both tracks. But the modifications came too late. Following limited openings during the same year, Six Flags Great Adventure decided to permanently retire the coaster. The ride was dismantled and placed in storage, with rumours of a potential relocation. Despite being purchased by Brazil's Beto Carreiro World, the coaster was never reassembled. Following the removal of Batman and Robin the Chiller, its former location was repurposed for new attractions. The space redeveloped into the site of Justice League Battle for Metropolis, a dark ride that opened in 2017. Announced in September 1988 and opening on April 15, 1989, the Great American Scream Machine was designed by Ron Toomer of Aerodynamics and built to surpass the height and speed records set by its predecessor, Shockwave at Six Flags Great America. Towering at 173 feet, with a 155-foot first drop, Scream Machine reached speeds of 68 miles per hour, making it the tallest and fastest looping coaster in the world. It featured a striking red and white track, symbolising a waving American flag, and 3 trains named Freedom, Liberty and Spirit, painted red, white and blue. The new roller coaster had been constructed on the site left vacant by Sarajevo Bobsled, which had closed at the end of the 1988 season. The ride experience began with a left turn out of the station and a climb up the towering lift hill. Riders then plunged down the steep drop, entering a massive vertical loop raised 136 feet off the ground. A swift left turn led into a double loop sequence, followed by an ascent into the mid-course brake run. The second half of the ride featured a batwing inversion, where the train flipped riders upside down twice in quick succession. This then transitioned into a double corkscrew. A final left turn brought the train into the brake run, completing a 2.5-minute journey through 7 inversions. At the time of its debut, Great American Scream Machine was praised for its intensity and record-breaking status. It was the highlight of Great Adventure's skyline, and a major draw for thrill seekers. However, as coaster design evolved and the millennium approached, the ride became known for its roughness, especially due to Arrow's track profiling and over-the-shoulder restraints. During its life, modifications were made in the early 1990s, reinforcing the tops of its vertical loops and adding trim brakes to reduce stress on the structure. Despite these changes, riders still found the experience jarring over time. By 2010, the ride had begun to show its age. On July 5th, Six Flags Great Adventure announced that the coaster would permanently close on July 18th to make way for a new attraction. Shortly after its final run, demolition began, and by September, its replacement was revealed. Green Lantern, a relocated stand-up coaster from Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom. For nearly 5 decades, the Skyride at Six Flags Great Adventure provided guests with a unique way to take in breathtaking views of the park. Spanning over 1/3 of a mile between Fantasy Forest and Frontier Adventures, this dual gondola lift not only served as an efficient means of transportation, but also became an iconic attraction in its own right. The Skyride originally opened at the 1964 to 1965 New York World's Fair. It was a state-of-the-art system at the time, offering guests a bird's-eye view of the fairgrounds. When the fair ended, Great Adventure acquired the ride and installed it in the park for its grand opening in 1974. Passengers boarded the Skyride's open-air gondolas, designed to carry up to 4 guests, arranged in 2 rows facing each other. The journey lasted approximately 4 minutes, providing spectacular aerial views of the park's lush landscape. The ride followed a continuous cable loop, supported by 6 evenly spaced towers, with 2 main stations controlling its operation. The Fantasy Forest station housed the electric motor that powered the ride, with a diesel backup system in case of power failure. The Frontier Adventure station contained a 14-ton counterweight system to maintain the cable's tension. Beyond providing scenic views, the Skyride played a functional role in park navigation. In the early years, it helped guests travel between sections of the park, reducing the need for long walks. The towers were initially painted forest green to blend with the Enchanted Forest theming, while the gondolas featured bright colours to create a striking visual against the sky. Despite its legacy, the Skyride faced increasing maintenance challenges as the years went on. On November 14, 2024, Six Flags Great Adventure announced the ride's permanent closure, citing future development plans. Removal began almost immediately and continued into 2025. Opening in 2011 was Green Lantern, a stand-up roller coaster from manufacturer Bollinger & Mabillard. The ride had originally made its debut as Chang at Kentucky Kingdom on April 4, 1997, where it immediately set records in height, drop, speed, length, and inversions for a stand-up roller coaster. Chang's introduction contributed to record attendance at the park, drawing over 1 million visitors in 1997. In September 2009, Six Flags removed Chang to make way for an expansion of the water park, and eventually it became clear the coaster would find a new home. Following the removal of Great American Scream Machine in 2010, Six Flags Great Adventure confirmed that a Green Lantern-themed coaster would open in 2011. The ride's existing track was repainted bright green, with its vertical loop receiving a distinct yellow colour. Track installation began in early 2011, and the ride opened on May 25th to the public after a brief soft opening. Green Lantern was the third coaster to occupy the site, and despite being a relocation, the ride was a major addition, standing as Great Adventure's second stand-up coaster after the short-lived Intamin-built Shockwave. Green Lantern stood 155 feet tall, with a 144-foot drop, reaching speeds of 63 miles per hour. Riders would board one of the trains, each featuring 7 cars, with 4 passengers in a single row, secured by over-the-shoulder restraints. The ride began with a climb up the 155-foot lift hill, where the Green Lantern Oath played over loudspeakers. After a pre-drop and turnaround, the train plunged into a 121-foot vertical loop, followed by a dive loop, and completed a third inversion with an inclined loop. The train then hit the mid-course brake run, before diving into 2 corkscrews and a final series of turns leading to the brake run. The 4,155-foot layout took approximately 2.5 minutes to complete. Green Lantern had a strong presence in the park, though its stand-up design was not universally praised. Many riders found the bicycle seat restraints uncomfortable, and the stand-up elements led to mixed opinions on re-rideability. Despite this, the ride was a staple attraction at Great Adventure for over a decade. In its early years at the park, Green Lantern operated with 3 trains, but due to frequent stacking on the brake run, operations were reduced to 2 trains. Over time, ridership declined, as newer attractions drew more attention. On November 13, 2024, Six Flags announced that Green Lantern would be removed after the season. The closure came as part of a broader strategy to refresh the park's offerings, coinciding with the announced closure of King Dakar. Demolition would begin later that month, marking the end of Green Lantern's 27-year history. In 2014, Six Flags Great Adventure unveiled a towering new attraction that pushed the limits of theme park thrills. Zoomanjaro Drop of Doom was not only the tallest drop ride in the world, but it also shared its structure with the record-breaking King Dakar roller coaster. The idea for Zoomanjaro Drop of Doom was born out of a desire to further utilise the massive steel structure of King Dakar, the tallest roller coaster in the world. Rather than constructing an entirely separate drop tower, Six Flags opted for a unique approach, attaching 3 drop tracks to the front face of King Dakar's 456-foot tower. Initially slated for a Memorial Day weekend opening, the ride faced multiple delays due to weather and permit issues. It ultimately debuted to the public on July 4, 2014, coinciding with Six Flags Great Adventure's 40th anniversary. Riders entered a dedicated queue next to King Dakar's entrance, where a single rider lane helped reduce wait times. Boarding one of 3 gondolas, each seating 8 riders, they were secured by over-the-shoulder restraints and seatbelts before each gondola was attached to a catch car for the slow ascent. The climb started gradually, but accelerated towards the peak, where riders experienced a suspenseful 10 to 12 second pause. From this dizzying height, they could see miles into the distance. On clear days, it was said Philadelphia, located 52 miles away, was visible. Without warning, the gondolas released, sending riders plummeting 415 feet in just 6 seconds. reaching speeds of 90 miles per hour. The rapid descent created a stomach-dropping sensation unlike any other ride in the park. Despite its intensity, many riders found the drop smoother than expected, though the sheer height made it one of the most intimidating rides at Six Flags Great Adventure. While Zoomanjaro delivered on thrills, it faced operational challenges from the start. One of the biggest concerns was its relationship with King Dakar. Initially, the park advertised that King Dakar's launch would coincide with Zoomanjaro's drop, creating an incredible visual effect. However, in practice, King Dakar's trains were often held at the launch track, while Zoomanjaro was in operation. This was reportedly over concerns about objects falling from riders. Additionally, Zoomanjaro frequently experienced downtime due to weather conditions. Given its height, the ride was particularly vulnerable to wind restrictions, leading to frequent closures that frustrated guests. Mechanical issues and maintenance also played a role in its inconsistent operation. Despite its record-breaking stature, Zoomanjaro never became a signature attraction at Six Flags Great Adventure in the way that King Dakar or El Toro did. In 2017, Six Flags attempted to enhance Zoomanjaro by introducing a virtual reality experience using Samsung Gear VR headsets. The headset simulation placed riders in a futuristic helicopter, battling mutant spiders. However, the feature was short-lived, as the VR implementation proved cumbersome and significantly increased loading times. By 2024, Zoomanjaro's future became uncertain. The ride operated sporadically in the spring and summer, with multiple unplanned closures. By late summer, rumours circulated that both Zoomanjaro and King Dakar could be removed. These rumours were confirmed on November 14th, when Six Flags Great Adventure announced that King Dakar would be retired to make way for a new record-breaking multi-launch coaster. Shortly after, it was revealed that Zoomanjaro had also permanently closed. From towering steel giants to unique flat rides, each of these attractions had its moment in the spotlight before fading away. Some were removed for progress, others simply couldn't stand the test of time, but all were once part of Six Flags Great Adventure's landscape. As the park continues to evolve, new memories are made, but for those who remember, these lost rides will always be part of Great Adventure's story.